Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan here on Sunday the 29th of November. How in the world are you doing? Here to discuss the Miami Dolphins 20-3 victory over the New York Jets in the NFL's Week 12, which this game just completed as I put together this video. If you do like the content of this video, please go right ahead, hit that like button. It would be much appreciated, of course, by me. And if you haven't done so, feel free to subscribe as well to Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's get right into it. This was a game where the Dolphins, of course, we need every game we can get now, as the Dolphins are in the middle of a playoff push here. They do get the victory on the road against the Jets, 20-3. It was a game that saw plenty of defense in this one, though. It almost felt like a 10-3 final instead of a 20-3 final. But anyway, I'm here to give you my honest thoughts on how I think everything went, and a couple of thoughts on the rest and the remainder of the season, of the 2020 season, and how I hope things play out, and a couple of red flags as well that I picked up on along the way. So let's get right into it, guys. This was a game coming right in to this Week 12 matchup. The Dolphins were without Tua, who injured his thumbs. This was more of a late discovery going into the game, meaning we didn't quite know the status until it got into this morning, and then a little bit later in the morning, and then it looked like Fitzpatrick was going to get the start. Ryan Fitzpatrick does in fact get the start, plays pretty well, and the Dolphins do get the victory. One thing I noticed as this game got started, the Jets were definitely looking to establish some sort of running attack. Frank Gore at 18 carries, kind of turning back the clocks on that. And he was rather effective too. So coming off that Denver loss where they just ran the ball all over the Dolphins, that's something to look at moving forward. Are other teams going to try to just smash us? Just smash that defense right up the middle, because these were pretty much like off-tackle type plays, dive type running plays, and they were picking up 3, 4, sometimes more than 4 yards fairly consistently. It was a little bit better, was the running defense in this game, but something to look for, guys. For the offensive production for the Dolphins, Fitzpatrick would finish 24 out of 39 for 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So he played pretty well. He would be sacked 4 times in this one, which raises their 2 main red flags. Now, I know that the Dolphins just won another game. They won by 17 points against a winless team. But guys, there are 2 red flags right now for the Dolphins. Number 1, how is the defense going to play down the stretch against the run? And now number 2 is, are we going, or 2, I was trying to do a 2 like this. Why don't we go like that? There we go. A 2 would be, how are we going to defend or not really defend, how are we going to guard against heavy pass rushes? Because the Jets were putting all sorts of heat on Fitzpatrick, and they got to him 4 times. You couple that with the 6 sacks the week before, that's a lot of sacks, guys. The Dolphins have let up 10 sacks in the last 2 weeks. Yes, that is something to be concerned about. DeAndre Washington. Now, the Dolphin running game it's new every game. Like someone's getting hurt literally every other week, it seems. DeAndre Washington played pretty good. 13 carries, 49 yards. I mean, not spectacular, but he did a pretty good job. Where the Dolphins really hurt themselves, and this really hasn't been too much of a theme so far this year, is not holding on to the football. Guys, we had a Matt Breida and a Patrick Laird lost fumble in this one. Breida, who, I mean, he ran the ball pretty well. He had 8 carries, 36 yards. He would lose the ball. He would fumble. and the Dolphins would lose possession. And Patrick Laird, who had 1 carry for 9 yards, it was a nice 9-yard run actually, and he also would fumble and ball goes over to the Jets. Fitzpatrick helped his own cause with 3 carries, 10 yards. Although I believe it was it was a 12-yard run that he had, and I think he actually lost a few yards on kneeling. They shouldn't count that on running statistics for a quarterback when you go to the victory formation and they kneel. Why does that count against? I don't understand that. They should just wipe that off the board because it's a small thing, but why should a quarterback have a 1-yard loss go against his running total if he has a running total? Because sometimes they don't. Now, one thing, guys, you can count on when Fitzpatrick's in there. If you like Tua starting or if you like Fitzpatrick starting, that's really up to you. I mean, you can make a case for either one. But if there's one thing we know is that when Fitzpatrick starts, boom, Devante's numbers go right up. And that was the case today. Devante Parker, 8 catches for 119 yards. He was targeted all over the place. I think he was targeted like 13, at least 12 times. No, it was more like 13, 14 times. 8 catches, 119 yards. Spectacular performance. Mike Gesicki had 2 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown. That beautiful lob pass towards the corner of the end zone, not the side of the end zone, really. And he would come up with it with Mike Gesicki. Mac Hollins, 2 catches, 19 yards. Durham Smythe, who is more, he's now part of the offensive attack, really, for the Dolphins in a small way. He seems to be involved more like in the short yardage type over the middle passes, where Gesicki seems to go more outside. Gesicki's turned into, like, if there is such a thing, a big play tight end. Have you noticed that? But Durham Smythe would finish with 3 catches, 19 yards. Breida out of the backfield, 2 catches, 17 yards. Jakeem Grant, 2 catches, 15 yards. Washington out of the backfield, 2 catches, 11 yards. Malcolm Perry had a catch for 8 yards. Adam Shaheen a catch for 7 yards, as did Antonio Callaway have a catch for 7 yards. One thing I will say for the Jets, and I have to give them a ton of credit in this, when they came out for that second half, that defense was ready to go, and they were prepared. They were ready to go from a fired up standpoint, a mental standpoint. They were ready to go that way, and they were also definitely ready to go from a preparation standpoint, because they were right on, like the first 2 possessions of the Dolphins, they were right on each play. It's almost like they knew what was coming, and for a while there, I'm just sitting there going, Dolphins just got to get out of here with a win. And then a little bit surprising in the second half, Jets down 13-3. They elect to go on 4th and 1, where it would have been an easy field goal. It would have been like a 30-yard field goal, roughly a 30-yard field goal. And they elect to go, and then they get stuffed on a running play. So in part what you're seeing is a lot of desperation from the Jets. I mean, I guess I can't blame them. But defensively, for the most part, especially in that third quarter, the Jets were playing strong on defense, I thought. And the loss now makes the New York Jets 2020 season record as of this moment 0-11. They are the 18th team in NFL history to start the season 0-11. 5 more losses, which still is a fair amount of losses. They would become the 3rd team to go 0-16. And technically, at least in the Sports Snippets book of winless teams or stat category, they would technically be the 4th winless team in modern day NFL, because you have to go back to 1976, I believe it was. Tampa Bay Buccaneers would finish 0-14 back when they had a 14-game season. So that's something to consider. But yes, they would be the 3rd, if they were to lose their last 5 games, they would be the 3rd team to finish 0-16. Not sure if that will happen. Jets, I mean, they showed some pretty good things out there. Darnold looks more like, he looks more like the same old Darnold that we've seen the last few years, but he just seems out of place now. I think I have a feeling this is it for him for the Jets. That's just my gut feeling. He just doesn't really seem as involved as he once was. I could be wrong on this. This is just a gut feeling. Darnold can play, though. I mean, it's not like, if he were to leave the Jets, he would easily catch on with someone else. If he can get in the right situation, he would finish 16 of 27, 197 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions was a really bad pass. From what I saw, he was sacked 3 times. I think it's more mental now with Darnold. He's just he's just hoping they can get a win somewhere, and probably, I guess I can't blame him. If I were him, I would just want the season to end, and they can kind of get reset for the 2021 season. Gore, as discussed earlier, would finish 18 carries, 74 yards. Darnold would have 2 carries, 9 yards. Ty Johnson, 2 carries, 3 yards. Josh Adams had 1 carry for a yard. Brashad Perryman. Now, the Jets have a couple of pretty good-looking young receivers. Brashad Perryman. And this is probably why we didn't see as much of Jamison Crowder, who in that first matchup with the Dolphins was featured a little bit more. But I can kind of see why that is, because they have now, Perryman is starting to emerge, and so is Denzel Mims. So Perryman would finish 4 catches, 79 yards. Mims, 4 catches, 67 yards. Crowder, Jamison Crowder, that is, 3 catches, 31 yards. Gore out of the backfield, 3 catches, 12 yards. Jeff Smith, a catch for 7 yards. Ty Johnson, a catch for a yard. Now, guys, Xavier Howard would get another, yes, that's right, yet another interception. His NFL leading 7th pick of the year. Great job, Xavier Howard, doing awesome this year. You're playing great so far in 2020. We appreciate it. Dolphin fans do. Leave some comments on that, on the Xavier Howard play. Let me know what you think of those 2 points I brought up earlier, the run defense of the Dolphins, along with, hey, we just allowed 10 sacks in the last 2 weeks to 2 teams that had losing records. So that's got to get fixed, guys. You can't, another 4 sacks today, come on. That's not, and we can't say, well, Fitzpatrick wasn't, no, or Tua, it was Fitzpatrick or Tua's fault, because Tua played the majority of last game. Fitzpatrick played the whole game this game. Tua got sacked 6 times last week, and now Fitzpatrick follows up with 4 times this week. So guys, and they're getting the heat put on them a lot. So guys, that's the way it is as we speak. Dolphins move to 7-4. Let's discuss that before I close things out real quick. Next week is a home game. You got it. Home against the Burrowless Bengals. One would think that this would be a victory for the Dolphins, but I'm not sure how the Bengals-Giants game wound up. It was fairly close when I was glancing over at the score. I believe Giants were winning in the second half, but I didn't, in all honesty, follow that game very closely as I was more watching our game. But I was seeing the score roll down on the screen. So that's where we stand. And as we look into the last few, so let's break this down. So it's Bengals, right? So that's a home game. Got to get that one. That would make it 8-4, but got to play, got to win that one. Then you got 4 more, which is home against the Chiefs, home against the Patriots, road at Las Vegas Raiders, road to end the season at Buffalo on the 3rd of January. So guys, that's a tough final 4 games. Let me know what you think about that as well. That's a tough final 4 games, man. Chiefs, Patriots, Raiders, and of course the Bills. So guys, this is Dennis Sullivan, Sports Snippets, saying I will see you, yes you, next time. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.